Well, it's been 5 months. 5 months ago, on June 1st, 2019, my husband, John Horatio Hampton III, went home to be with the Lord. He made his transition from earth to heaven. In his absence, he leaves 9 children, me. How many brothers and sisters? He had, there's 7 other living brothers and sisters, 2 grandchildren. Anyway, all of that you can see in his obituary. Why am I doing this? This has been an exceptionally interesting journey, to say the least. And I want to see me better. And so I decided to start recording this journey. I've been saying I was going to do this since the beginning. And today I decided to pick up the phone, press the record button, and do it. Being a widow is something I never imagined. I never thought. I never planned for. Being a single mother, something I tried to avoid. But in the blink of an eye, I now experience both. There are a lot of things that I am grateful for. My husband and I knew each other some almost 18 years ago. It was 15 when we met. 3 years from this coming Monday, we would have reunited 3 years ago. We dated back in early 2000. I would say it's 2019, so 2001, somewhere around there, when we worked at Home Depot. And we dated, and then we broke up because we were knuckleheads. And my husband searched for me for years. Let him tell the story. Never forgot about me. Moved on with life because you have to. I moved originally from Michigan. I moved to Delaware. I lived in Delaware for 8 years, and then I moved to Canada. I've been in Canada now 7 years. So I wasn't exactly the easiest person to find, and we didn't have any mutual friends, so we weren't in contact. But he searched for me, and then on Facebook, he searched for me some more. Ironically, to tell the story, my husband says he searched for me for almost 2 years, and he knew how to spell my name, so he would try all different variations and could never find me. And then he said one day he almost gave up. Well, he had almost given up, and one day he said he felt like something. Later on, he said it was the Holy Spirit, but at the time he said something told him try one more time. And when he did, my name was the first name that showed up in the search list. It's funny. On my side, you know how movies, they show you like the whole story from one person's view, and then they go back and tell you the whole story from the other person's point of view. So the 2 years my husband was searching for me, I was in ministry school. And ironically, I was like, Lord, I'm single. I want to be single. But I was like, I don't think I could date anybody, even though I want to, because school is intense. I was in school, full time, and I was working full time. I was serving in ministry and music ministry. I was doing a lot. So how I would have managed dating somebody, Lord knows I couldn't. But in my head, I was like, but I want to. Lord, why won't you let me meet somebody? And I'd even tried to date a couple people, and I was like, whatever. So I was able to focus in school, and, graduated top of my class, and really felt, that I was positioned to do great things. Not exactly knowing how it would come about, but, God revealing things to me over time. Anyway, so in June of 2016, I graduated from ministry school. I did a lot of different things, and, just was excited, but, whatever. November 10th or 11th, depending on which one of us you ask, I received a Facebook message. And Facebook, has it where if people message you, I have my settings set up. You can't message me or you can't friend me if you don't know somebody that I'm already friends with. And so if the person sends you a message, it goes into this mailbox that you never see unless you know to look for it. And it just so happened that I was on my iPad, and iPad shows you this mailbox or this inbox differently than it does on the phone. So it just shows. And I was like, oh, what is this? Anyway, so make a long story short, he messaged me and we started talking on Facebook. And not too soon thereafter, we went from Facebook to text messaging to phone. And from the day we talked on the phone in November of 2016, we talked every day since, minus a couple, just for us being hard-headed, but I don't think there was ever a day that went by that we didn't talk or text or something. And most days we talked daily, multiple times a day. On May 18th of 2018, at 5 p.m., we got married in Charlevoix at Castle Farms. It was a castle. It's either 100 or 150-year-old castle. Beautiful wedding. Beautiful day. Handsome man. Beautiful family gathering. It's one of the best days of my life. It was my dream wedding, to get married in a castle. I had to dress like a princess. My husband was my knight in shining armor, my king, my prince. And, but we still had challenges as being people who, he lived in Michigan, I lived in Canada. And we were working on immigration, but gosh, that's such a challenging process sometimes. And so we had a long distance marriage. And through that, though, we had my husband and I, we had the pleasure of being together for 2.5 years. And we did so much. We did a lot, just in dating as well as when we were married, just because, again, we were long distance. So I traveled to Michigan once a month and spent time with him. And a lot of times we would go places. We discovered places in Michigan we've never been to. We discovered places in Indiana. We discovered places in, all over that we had just never been to. And it was awesome. And May 18 of 2019, actually May, I think 15th or 16th, we met up in Buffalo. We drove, he took the train to Buffalo and I drove to Buffalo and picked him up, and we celebrated our 1-year anniversary. And we started in Niagara Falls on the U.S. side, and we went to Niagara Falls, and then we stayed in, I can't remember if it was Albany or Syracuse, one of the two, New York, overnight. And then we drove down to Lincoln, New Hampshire, but on the way we stopped in Vermont and we got to see Abraham Lincoln's son's house and all these little things we love, just stopping off. We're not in a hurry. It's our trip. So we just stop off and, go see things on the way. And we had a blast. Although my husband wasn't feeling very well. But he pushed so that we could go on this trip. Every year around May, actually from end of January, February, all the way till about May is like my busy season. I'm the minister of music at my church, and so I'm over music and drama. And so in February, end of January, February, we start preparing for our Good Friday Resurrection production. And so we put on a play, and it's a pretty big deal for us. And so we have that. We also have our women's conference. And all of that usually happens around the same time. So it's a lot of planning, weekend rehearsals, and just a lot. Plus, the normal everyday Sunday, Wednesday, plus other events that come up. And so it's just a really busy time. So I usually don't see my husband from March to May. So we hadn't seen each other since, I think, beginning of March. And so our trip, we were really looking forward to it. And so my husband wasn't feeling well. And but he did it anyway. He pushed to go on this trip because we hadn't seen each other. And I'm so glad he did. And in the beginning, let's be honest. Oh, we had a wonderful, listen, we were fighting about something stupid. But I thank God because I prayed and asked God for how do I make this work without, anyway. And God just told me, don't make it a marriage retreat. Don't try to work on your problems. Just enjoy the time you have and be grateful you made it your first year. Be grateful for the time you have. Be grateful that you're able to take these trips. And so I did, and the Lord helped me to shut my mouth. We as women, I don't know about any of you out there, but for me, a lot of times it's hard to keep quiet because I want to make my point. I want to drive this home. I want to talk this through. I want us to get better. I want. But in being quiet, the Lord allowed my husband and I to be able to meet on common ground. And we had one of the best conversations we had had since before we got married. And it changed our trip to the best trip we had ever had. I thank God for that because I didn't know it would be our last. I was the one actually not feeling well by the time we left, coughing up a storm. And I remember when we left, I dropped him off at the train station and the train was late. So we just sat in the train station and my head on his chest just waiting. And sad that it was going to be over. But happy because 2 weeks later I was traveling to Michigan to see him again. And I don't remember what was. I just had a free weekend. I was like, I'm coming. Because I had to plan, my weekends with church and stuff where I could be away, and I was trying to be away for a week. And I remember it was May 31st. We were talking to my husband. He and my daughter had went through their immigration process and had finished their medical and their biometrics. And so the doctor had called and told him that he had seen some fluid on his lungs and that he might have pneumonia. And so, we're all fussing, me, children, everybody, do go to the doctor. Men are stubborn. If you're watching and you're a man, go to the doctor. My husband, unfortunately at the time, his insurance, the company he had been with, had went out of business. And so he hadn't renewed and gotten new insurance. So he was like, I don't want to go. Emergency bill's going to be too much. Men, women, but men especially, go to the doctor. You never know. Our bodies, they do things to tell us things are wrong, and we avoid them because we think, oh, it'll get better. I know. Go to the doctor. That hour, 2 hours that you might have to wait could save your life. So anyway, my husband and I, we got into a discussion. We didn't argue. It was just like, honey, just go. I really just want you to be well. And I remember we got off the phone a little bit early. Usually my husband will wait till I get home and then we'll talk till I go to sleep. But this night my husband was tired. So we got off the phone and I sent him this long text message and I was like, I'm not going to apologize for caring about you. I just want you to be well. And I sent him some options of places to go that, that deal with the situation. Because in the U.S., it's a big phenomenon. It's a big challenge for people not having insurance. And so I sent him a couple places that he could go to. But at the end, I said, no matter what, I love you. The next day, my husband texted me in the morning and said, that he wasn't upset with me and that he knew that I loved him, that he was just tired and that he loved me. I didn't call him right away because I was getting ready to leave. So I was like, I'll call him when I get in the car. While I was getting ready, my mom came on my heart and I was like, I haven't talked to my mom since the holiday, Memorial Day. And so I was like, I need to call my mom. So I called my mom and I was talking to her all the way to the time I got in the car. So then I got off the phone with my mom and then I called my girlfriend and, told her I was coming and I was on my way, and asked her if she wanted something to eat and everything. I'm figured, getting everything out the way so that when I'm done, I can talk to my husband without interruption. I was on the phone with my girlfriend when my daughter called and said that my husband wasn't breathing, that she had called 911. And I'm thinking, that his lung just kind of collapsed or something because maybe it was pneumonia. And I'm thinking, okay, well, you're going to the hospital now, aren't you, butthead? I'm just thinking they'll resuscitate him or they'll, put a breathing mask on him, start, pumping breath and send him to the hospital. And I know he didn't want that, but, So I'm like, do I drive down? And I'm like, no, because he's going to be mad if I came down and he's just in the hospital. I'm sure he won't be there that long. So I decided to keep going about my day. Then something tells me like, I should just go. So I decided to turn around. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go. I'm just going to pack a couple bags. I'll go down. I'd rather be there in case my daughter needs anything or, even though her grandmother, she was well taken care of, but I'd rather be there in the hospital, sit with him. I'll come back, come back up, because I was supposed to be there that Tuesday. And so I was contemplating, do I go down early or do I just wait till Tuesday? And I'm like, let me just go. It's a 4.5 hour drive, 5 hour drive. I'd rather be there, sit with them for a little while. I'll come back the next day. So I came in, I packed a bag. I'm telling you, I don't even remember what I packed. Like I think I forgot underwear because this was my home. This is my other home. So I knew anything I didn't have, I could probably get there. I'm just going for a minute. I don't need no special clothes. I don't need no special nothing. I'm just going, sit with my husband, make sure he's all right. I called my pastor, let them know what was going on, that something was happening, that, he had been rushed to the hospital. And at the time they were trying to resuscitate him. And I didn't really take into account what that meant. I'm just thinking, you're just trying to get him breathing again. I pulled out of the driveway. I turned the corner. My daughter called back and said, Mommy's gone. I was like, no, he's not. They just need to try again. I just began screaming, yelling, and crying. I told my daughter, I'm sorry, give me a minute, I'm going to call you back. And I just began to beat the steering wheel. I know if anybody drove by and saw me, they were like, this chick is going crazy. But I couldn't believe it. The man I had just talked to last night, the man that I was going to see in 2.5 days, 3 days, was gone. My husband, who I had just celebrated our 1-year anniversary with, was dead. I called my pastor. Told them, and I tried to drive to Michigan. My pastor said, I have to drive you. I thank God for my pastor. And let me tell you, if you are a believer and you're not in church, you don't have a church home, get one. Because we need to be there for one another. We need to encourage one another. We need to lift each other up in prayer. We need to be there physically for one another. And you need a covering. You need someone that's praying for you and over you and with you and speaking life into you that you can trust to hear from God and lead you to God or in your relationship with God. So anyway, my pastor said, I have to drive you. And I'm like, I need to go now. Make a long story short, my pastor said, where are you? Can you meet me here? I will come there and I will drive you. And my pastor drove me home. On our way there, a tornado almost hit. I'm talking looking in the sky and seeing the clouds form in a funnel while we're on the highway. We are praying, speaking in authority, and we just saw it move. And it's like, no, you ain't getting all of us. You are not getting us, not today. So we drove there, and so many other things happened, and maybe one day I'll share them with you. But nonetheless, the doctors had done all that they could do. What I thought was just a lung issue was actually that his heart had stopped. When they said they were trying to resuscitate him, they were trying to get his heart to start beating again. I like to believe my husband passed peacefully, that he wasn't in any agony or pain, that he had a heart attack, which we found out later. He died from cardiac, basically. A lot of 3 different types of diagnoses, but basically he had a heart attack. And my prayer is that he was not in pain, or his pain was minimal, and then he passed. I am a believer, and I am 100% confident that my husband is in heaven. There's not a day that goes by that I don't miss him. But there's not a day that goes by that I know he wouldn't come back if he could. Because the God that I pray to, he is there with him, experiencing his presence, seeing him face to face. And there's nothing on earth, even me, that can compare to that. I'm not mad at my husband for leaving. I wish he would have been here longer. I wish he would have went to the doctor. I'm mad that it happened, but I'm not mad at him. My husband is in a place that one day I'm mad that I'm left without him. I'm mad that we had only a short period of time together. It was just yesterday that I admitted I'm angry that my life has taken this turn. My husband is in good standing. He wants for nothing. He has no pain. He ain't got to pay bills. And I'm still here. But I thank God I'm still here. Our daughter, his almost middle child, her mother passed away many years ago. So she's here with me in Canada. She's 17. She's a beautiful young lady inside and out. She is my daughter. My husband and I were always planning to continue raising her together. So I believe that it was his desire for her to be with me, and it definitely is mine. And she made the conscious choice to move here with me, and I'm blessed for that. So this is the beginning of my journey. I wanted to share it with you. I pray that through this, as we go through this together, that you're blessed, comforted. Don't feel sorry for me. Pray for me. Anytime you want to encourage me, please do so. Know that some days are easier than others. Some days there's a smile on my face while I'm crying on the inside. Some days there's no smile. But I am here, one day at a time. God is faithful. He keeps me. He's patient. There are times I don't like him. But every day he reminds me that through all of this, he is right here. He knows my heart. He speaks to me as his loving daughter. He's never given up on me, and he never will. So thank you for joining this journey with me. Can't say how often I'll do these because I don't want to commit and then tell a story. But I feel this needs to get out because I believe God is going to use this to bless me and to bless so many others. So whatever you're going through, be encouraged. I wish I could tell you that this would never happen to you, or the loss of a child, the loss of a parent, a friend, a brother, a sister. But it will, it might. But you can make it. I'm here to tell you, you can make it. One day at a time. God loves you. Be encouraged.